Welcome, welcome. It's time for this week's midweek medicine. Look, we're beginning this new series of teachings entitled Rise and Build, coming from Nehemiah's story where where he faced a situation where his home country or hometown was in ruins. The walls were broken down, the gates were burned in fire, and they found themselves distressed and in reproach. And it came into his heart to go back and rebuild the wall so that reproach can be gone. So today I want to talk about or make us aware of something that happens when you set out to build anything better, to do anything better, to make yourself better, to make your surroundings better. When you set out to do those things, there will be opposition. And that's what I want to talk about today. This very word I want to zero in on and focus on for today's message. Opposition. Come on, say it with me. Opposition. My name is Lamar, Toulouse, and I am come to serve you some spiritual food for your soul so as to stir up a willingness for you to be transformed. Come on, let's dive into today's topic. I want to talk from this subject matter: building through opposition. Building through opposition. So, as the title states, we're building something, and there's opposition we're going to face, and we have to build through that opposition. So let's, through this message, focus in on some things that's going to be necessary to get through it. Let's go to Nehemiah, the second chapter, verse 17, to dive into the story that we're going to use today for our midweek medicine. Look at verse 17. It says, Then said I unto them, you see the distress that we are in. This is Nehemiah speaking to the children of Israel, those that were remnants and of the captivity that came into that place, finding themselves in distress. How Jerusalem lying waste and its gates are burned with fire. Come, let us build the wall of Jerusalem that we may no longer be in reproach. Look at verse 18. And I told them of the hand of my God which had been upon me, and also of the king's word that he had spoken to me. So they said, let us rise up and build. This is the foundation of the teachings that we're going to be teaching in the next couple of lessons. Rise up and build. Then they set their hand to this good work. But look at verse 19, which is what I want to focus in on today. Verse 19 says, But when Sanballat the Hornite, Tobiah the Amorite official, and Geshem the Arab heard it, they laughed at us and despised us and said, What is this thing that you are doing? Will you rebel against the king? Opposition arose. They set out to do a good work, but opposition arose. Here is the wisdom insight for this message today. This is the lesson. This is what I want you to take insight of in this message on today. At times, when we make up our mind to rise up and build, when we make up our mind to do better, when we make up our mind to set out to do something bigger than ourselves for the better, there will be opposition. Not might be, there will be. And if you are prepared for it when it comes, or you know it's going to come, it won't catch you off guard. You won't find yourself stopping. You won't find yourself quitting. You won't find yourself in an emotional storm. You'll know that this opposition has come for a reason. As Nehemiah started out, look, when it first came into his heart to go back to his home country, he got permission from the king to go. And the king also gave him resources to go and build. But Nehemiah did something smart that we don't always take heed to when we start out to do something. Nehemiah went to search out the land in secret. He kept it to himself what he was coming to do before he broadcasted. And then when he made the announcement, verse 17 and 18 is him making the announcement that he's here. Hey, I'm here to help you rebuild. I'm here to help you to grow further. I'm here to help you find your purpose and work on your purpose to walk into your purpose. But when the opposition heard it, the announcement, that's when they came out of the woodwork. See, sometimes we have to keep some things in secret until the time comes. See, Nehemiah knew it was the time and he was going to have to bring the adversaries out. But he already had the resources. He already spied out what was needed to build. He already counted the cost of what it was going to take to build. Just because you count the cost, just because you made the announcement, doesn't mean the adversity is going to come. It was when he made the announcement that Sanballat and Tobiah, who we're going to use in this story as the opposition throughout these lessons, they rose up. Because anytime you want to do good, what? Evil is present. And that is a principle that we must adhere to in understanding opposition. It is in Romans, the 7th chapter, verse 21. It's a principle. When it says a law, I find then a law. That word means a principle, a truth that you will see throughout often. You're going to see it the same. If you keep seeing it pop up, that's a principle. That's a truth. And that law, when I would do good, evil is present. They set out to do a good work. As soon as they set out to do something good, here comes the evil showing up. So the key point is the opposition is necessary, though. Don't look at opposition that's coming at you to hinder. Look at it, okay, this is here for something. What is the reason? I must be doing something right. I must be onto something. I must be doing a good work. If those things are the case, look, if you're not getting opposition, then that's when you should be alarmed and be aware, because if you're not getting opposition, then that means you're not in the right direction, or you're not going the direction that God is wanting you to go. The opposition is necessary. Now, here is a lesson from understanding that the opposition is necessary. We also have to understand that the opposition is not per se people or a person or a place or thing. The opposition is an adversary. There is an adverse principalities that's against good. When Adam was in the Garden of Eden in the beginning, before he fell, God told him, don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day you eat of it, you will surely die. Their eyes were open, and now they were exposed to an adverse force that was against them. They were under the covering of God before they sinned and fell short of his glory. So they were covered by good. They were covered by his grace. They were covered by his love, hedged in from evil. But when Adam disobeyed, he found himself now out of that covering and exposed to this principle that good and evil are adverse against one another. Go out through history and we can see this point proven. So our opposition is an adversary, and that adversary is Satan, the devil. Uses the principalities and powers to be adverse against you. So we'll be thinking we're fighting people. We're thinking we're fighting organizations. We're thinking we're fighting friends. We're fighting co-workers. We're fighting relationships. We're fighting these things. But when I want you to see this, that the picture is bigger than the people, the person, the place, or the thing that's adverse against you. Look at Ephesians, the 6th chapter, verse 11. He says, put on the whole armor of God that you are able to stand against the wiles, the schemes of the devil. He's going to use schemes to come at you. He's going to use a ploy against you when you set out to do good. I know it's frustrating. I know it feels like a fight. I know it feels like all hell breaks loose and it's against you. But that's because you're on the verge of a breakthrough. You're on the verge of setting your life to another level for good. And know that the opposition is necessary to reach that level. Look at verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We don't wrestle against the flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So there's different levels, there's different rankings of the adversity that's coming at you. So if you're starting out on a small level, it's small things that hinder you. But as is said, another level, another devil, or another view of the adversity that's coming against you. Jesus had to face this as we faced it. But look at how that adversity led him to his purpose. Look at how the adversity was necessary to what he went through. When Jesus was first baptized and going into the coming up out of the water, and the Spirit of God, or the Spirit descended upon him and remained on him, he was led 40 days in the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, to be tempted of Satan. And he overcame that temptation by the word of God. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of the Lord. That is a principle. That is a law he lived by. So it through that opposition, he expressed the word that was on the inside of him. And it was the word that caused him to stand on solid ground to overcome those wiles of the enemy. And after the enemy came with his wiles and Jesus withstood them, the enemy or the devil flee for a season, and ministers came and witnessed unto him and ministered unto him to strengthen him. So when we find ourselves in a place of weakness and we find ourselves in a place of vulnerability, that is because the wiles of the enemy is coming in, or that opposition is getting inside of your boat, causing you to sink. But when you are aware of it and you're firm on the word, then you have something to fight against, which is wrestling against you. You have to put on the whole armor so you can withstand against these spiritual forces that are adverse against you. Or look at Jesus now. He's facing a friend of his, a disciple of his, Peter, and also Judas, who betrayed him. Those were oppositions that were necessary for the purpose of him going to the cross. Yes, he had to go through the cross in order to get the name that is above every name. See, we can shout at there is a name that's above every name, and at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. But what we have to realize first is he had to go through the Garden of Gethsemane, that place of sorrow and that place of pain and that place of anguish, because of the opposition that he was about to face, called the cross. And in going through that, he had to go through the cross in order to get the crown. He had to go through that in order to get that name that was above every name. So my thing to you is, if you're building something, you got to go through the opposition. We are none exempt from the wiles that were the fiery darts that come at, the haters that's going to come at you, the betrayal that's going to come at you. These things are not come to destroy you. These things are building blocks for you to build on and to grow on, because you're going to another level. You're going to a place of success that if you are going to sustain, you have to learn how to withstand these things called opposition in don't crumble through them, but rise above them. And so in Jesus' case, Peter came as opposition to him. I want you to see this story because it ties into what we're teaching here in today's lesson. In Matthew the 16th chapter, verse 21, the story of Jesus saying, Peter, get behind me. Let's look at the context of it. From that time forward, Jesus began to talk about his purpose, why he came to suffer and to die and to rise again the third day. He knew he was going to rise, but he still had to go through the suffering. He knew that he was building something better. He knew that he was bringing forth a new covenant, but he still had to go the way. He still had to go through the opposition. How he must go through Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and be raised against the third day. He had to face death for us. Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from you, Lord. This shall not be unto you. Peter didn't want him to go the way of the cross. I don't want to lose you this way. I'm tired. See, I remember this when I was beginning to build businesses early on in my career, around 2002, 2003, 2004. Yes, a long time ago. And I would have this opposition when you would tell someone, man, I'm going to start me a company. Man, I'm going to do real estate. I'm going to build houses. I want to build 10 houses a month. I want to renovate houses. I want to resell them, and I want to make a profit. And then you would have those that would say, they're not going to let you do this. They're not going to give you no money. They're not going to allow you to do these things. And I was still trying to figure out who they was, but all I knew was I had a dream and a purpose to do something beyond myself, and didn't even realize those folks that loved me, that cared for me, that were looking out for me, were adversity to the purpose for which God was sending me on. And so I didn't know it at that time, but now looking back, I realized I didn't let that opposition hinder me, because greater was the purpose on the inside of me than the opposition that was on the outside of me. And so I still pressed through and gained success because the purpose helped me get through the opposition. What I was building and what I saw that could be built was greater than what I was going through. And so look at what Jesus says in verse 23 to Peter. Oh, we're having a little technical difficulties here. He says in verse 23, Get thee behind me, Satan, for you are an adversary. Matthew 16 and 23. See, that's what happens with technology. I got my Bible though. Matthew 16 and 23. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offense unto me, for you savor not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men. He didn't want him to go that way of the cross, but it was God's plan for him to go. It was God's that built the plan, and him carrying it out, and he had to finish the work. See, we all have a work that we have been given by God to finish. And that work is to benefit someone else. But we have to get through the adversity to get to the plan and the purpose that God has for us. There we go. We're back online. And so now, in understanding that, why does the opposition come? So there's many we can talk about, but I'm going to talk about these three for the sake of this lesson today. Why does the opposition come? Why does the enemy come in like a flood and God has to lift up a standard? Number one, we're going to talk about it comes to demolish you. See, when you're trying to build something, you also have to tear some things down, but there's going to also be those that oppose, that wants to try to tear it down before you even build it sometime. Or as you're building it, as we're going to see in this story of Nehemiah, how Sanballat and Tobiah were trying to destroy the work that they were doing. It comes to try to demolish you. You know where I'm going to go with this. What's 1 Peter, the 5th chapter, verse 8 says? Be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about, seeking whom he may devour, I know it says, but he's not just trying to take out what you're trying to build, he's trying to take you out. And as he says in John the 10th chapter, verse 10, the thief coming not to steal, but the thief comes not, but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But Jesus said, I have come that you may have life, and that you may have that life more abundantly. So it comes to demolish you, to get you to stop pushing forward. The second thing it comes to do is it comes to discourage you. Just as the children of Israel in the beginning, when God brought them out of Egypt by a mighty hand, they walked on dry ground through the Red Sea and saw their enemies overcome by the waters. And now finding themselves in the wilderness, they cried out for food. God showed them the water through the rock, all the miracles that he performed for them. When he was trying to show them the promised land, there were still those that came and discouraged the ones that was going with them. And discourage would cause you to be drowned by fear and doubt, paralyzed from building and moving forward. Be careful of discouragement. But what is the opposite is encouragement. And you will need encouragement when you're trying to build something better to get through the opposition. And look what John, the 1st chapter, verse 9 says. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of a good courage. Don't be afraid, nor be dismayed. For the Lord God is with you wheresoever you go, wherever you go. See, that is a great announcement, because no matter what comes against you, you know that God is for you. For no weapon that forms against me can prosper, because God is with me. Greater is he that's in me than he that is in the world. You have to have that declaration. You have to have that assurance. You have to have that confidence in knowing that this opposition can't take me out unless it's allowed by the Lord. And if he is with me, then this cannot be against me. And I stand firm on that foundation. And that's what I'm building to. God has given me this purpose in my heart. He has put it in my heart to do this thing. And therefore, if he put it in my heart, he also put it in me for it to come to pass. That's my declaration, and that's what I'm going to stand on. And I am going to be encouraged and be strong in the Lord and not be dismayed and not be afraid, because I know that God is with me. And then the last one that I want to talk to you about in this week's midweek message, it comes to distract you. This is one that we would seep in and we would not realize it because of our busyness and because of, we'll put our hands to things and think that we're doing something, but that something a lot of times is just busyness. It's not in alignment with the work that is given to you. It's a distraction to get you off focus, to get your attention onto something else and away from what you're building. Be aware of distraction. James, the 4th chapter, verse 7. I'll leave you with this. Submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. See, the distraction has come as resistance. Him trying to demolish you come as resistance. Him trying to destroy you is resistance. Him trying to discourage you is resistance. How do you overcome the resistance? By being submitted unto the Lord. When you submit, come under the word, come under God's instruction, Come under his grace. Come under his love. When you come under his love, the foundation that you build it on, it causes you to resist the devil or resist the adversity or resist the opposition. And when you do so, it has to flee. Jesus gave us that example when he was in the wilderness. His resistance was staying under the word. It is written, man shall not live. It is written, you shouldn't worship no other God. It is written, because it was in his heart to be obedient to the Father's instruction, because he knew the purpose that I have been given, it will bring distraction, it will bring discouragement. But I'm so grateful we have a great high priest who felt the infirmities that we go through and was without sin. And now we have a throne of grace we can come to obtain mercy and find grace to help in a time of need. You don't have to face the opposition by yourself, because we have a great high priest who went to the cross to get to the crown so that we can be crowned in the day, in this very day. For he loved us so much that he gave his only begotten son, his only self, so that we can now be free to build from that foundation. Beware of him demolishing. Beware of the enemy coming to discourage, and beware of the distraction. And why does the opposition come? The opposition comes to try to stop you. The message that I'm giving you in this week's midweek medicine, set out to build something great. Step out and walk in it by faith, and don't stop building when the opposition comes. God bless you, and I appreciate you for tuning in to this week's midweek medicine. And look, I want to just thank those that have been helping us online and sharing online and giving online. It is a pleasure and it's a privilege to be speaking to you and speaking spiritual wisdom through these teachings to you. And I'm grateful for your presence, and I'm grateful for your help. So those that are giving, I thank you. And if God lays it on your heart to be a help to this ministry, you can text GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 985-239-5700. Secure link will come up. Click on the link, go to general donation, and give whatever amount that God will put on your heart. And come alongside me as we build this ministry as a outsource or a resource to those who are wanting to be transformed and renewing their mind and building their lives. Your way of helping is to come alongside of us, and we're grateful and thankful for it. God bless you, and you have an awesome rest